Hi, everybody. Welcome to meditation group. So good to be here with you guys. I love seeing everyone's names and sometimes your faces as you enter our circle made of all these beautiful rectangles of our videos. So today we're going to do something kind of new, and I'm going to walk us through it first, and then we'll go right into the practice. And not every part of the practice is in the slides I'm going to share, but I hope they help kind of set us up to know the practice at the level of mind, and then don't worry about knowing anything, because as we do it, it it becomes our experience versus this sort of mental thinking about it, right? And by the way, if you're in the States, happy Thanksgiving a little late. I hope you had a nice day. I always think of Thanksgiving more as like the day of to be grateful for whatever we can be grateful for. The day of thanks. Mark just came in, and is my audio okay? It says that it's been changed now to a different microphone. Okay, do I sound different, guys? Got a different microphone happening here. And Mark is adjusting the sound, so please tell me if there's any problem with my audio. Oh, they can't hear me now, Mark. It says it was better a minute ago. They can't hear me. You're lower now. Now I can hear you. Okay, so I'm testing the sound for a second. How is it now, guys? Good? Okay. All right. Thank you guys for giving me that feedback. It's important because if you can't hear me guiding a meditation, what's the point, right? Okay, so what we're going to do in this practice is first we're going to, well, even before this first part, we're going to ground our energy and we're going to call in a kind of sacred space around us. You can think of this as a protection bubble, as a intention. If you enjoy having guides, ancestors, angels, it's their support. It's whatever feels right to you to sort of set your bigger spiritual space and to ground your energy. So we'll do that first. Then we're going to do practice 1, which begins with breathing in a wave-like pattern where we breathe up the body and then we breathe down the body. And after a few breaths like that, we're going to read. I say read, but it's more like perceive, imagine, acknowledge what's going on at different levels of our being, our emotions, our energy, any words or sensations that sort of project out at us. We're going to pay attention to those. We're going to listen to what's happening. And I'm going to ask you to take a few notes. Whether you do that as a mental note or a written note, that's up to you. And part of this clarifying, I think, is really important because so often we're in a stuck kind of situation internally, like maybe it's an emotional sort of stickiness or a low energy or an overwhelm or an irritation, whatever it is. And while we're definitely in it, we're not really clear about what that stuck or difficult suffering state is. So in this kind of making a map for ourselves, we're already starting to heal that without rejecting it, without having to change it, just knowing it and allowing it to communicate. And really, we're just, what are we allowing to communicate? We're allowing ourselves to communicate, right? And it's not something that's different than just you or I when we're sitting in traffic and we're frustrated, or we're at a long line because it's Cyber Monday and then there's not even a sale. That happened to me yesterday when I was getting shoes. I was like, I waited in line for some great sale, right? No, but I got the shoes anyways. Oh well. So we can practice this really anywhere. depending on the way you tune in, I tend to close my eyes, so it might look a little unusual, but still I could do it anywhere. Okay. And then next practice, we're going to shift our perspective. So notice we're not changing our emotion or changing our belief or our thought. That might change as a side benefit. But really what we're learning to do is have a shift in perspective. So a little story about this shifting in perspective. When my older son, who's now 25, um, when he was about 3, 4, 5, he had a lot of tantrums. He really had a hard time. And what I found worked the most for him was that the shifting of perspective. What's on the ceiling? What's on the floor? Can we lie down? Can we stand on our toes? Any of this sort of physical shifting of perspective allowed that young person to have more agency, to have more control of the way he was interpreting his environment, right? Well, it's the same for us. If we are feeling low or any of the ways that we might feel or have repetitive thoughts or however it is that we find ourselves as people experiencing something that's causing us suffering, usually part of that suffering is its continuation, that it's sort of going over and over again like a repetitive song or something. And so when we shift our perspective, we really create this extra roominess and this different way of of experiencing ourselves, maybe more as energy, maybe more as our higher or true self, maybe more expanded, maybe having more humor, maybe feeling more creative. I don't know how it'll be for you. It's different for all of us. Now, we could use tons of different tools for doing this, but today we're going to use shapes. So we're going to use diamonds, circles, squares, and triangles. And don't worry, because you're kind of probably going like, what is she talking about? But I'm going to walk you through that. You don't have to know anything. And if it's possible for you in your space, it's definitely possible sitting down to do this. We're also going to notice from different physical kinds of positions. And we're going to do some turning and twisting and releasing now in whatever way is okay for your body. The turning can literally just be the wrists like this turning. The turning can be a very, very small head turn. It can be one finger moving. It can be a full body, or not really full body, but upper body twist. It can be the infinity symbol with our hands. So there's many, many different ways for that turning, twisting, releasing. It could be laughing, it could be crying, it could be shaking or bouncing. Okay. So that's practice 2. And then in practice 3, we're going to kind of do our normal thing, which will be a guided healing meditation journey. And I have no idea what that's going to be like today. We're going to see what the guides and the higher self bring for all of us. However, the intention for that practice 3 is for you to allow the part of you that is the most true, and you might call that your soul or your higher conscious or your higher self or me, whatever you call that part of you that's most true. We're going to have the room for that to speak and give messages. And then I'm going to encourage you to write down those soul messages for yourself. Now, the messages might come in images, they might come in songs, they might come in sensations. However they come, it's the intention is for you to receive those as part of the healing journey. So I don't really know how long this is going to be for. I guess my intention is about 10-15 minutes of part 1 and 2, and about 10-15 minutes of part 3. Like part 1 and 2 together, about 10 to 15 minutes. So the whole thing about half an hour to 40 minutes, kind of our normal, you know? Okay, so let's go ahead and begin as I like to get more comfortable in my chair and with my feet. So feeling comfortable in your seat, whatever that is, it could be lying down, it could be standing up. You might have to do something like I have to move a pillow out from under my feet so I can feel the floor more fully with my feet. And let's just take a moment to ground and center ourselves. So just as you notice yourself, you might take a deep breath in and a full breath out, and just imagine sending beautiful roots down into the earth. So, on an energy level, you're just feeling that connection with your feet and your seat. And you might imagine, use your imagination to sense, feel a beautiful cord of light that goes down through the middle of the body, down through your hips and your sits bones, down into the earth. And that pillar of light is like a channel that lets the grounding, light filled, healing, secure, safe energy of earth come up into your body. And it's just kind of like a beautiful breathing in, feeling that energy fill you, breathing out, letting yourself connect with earth. And that's how we ground our energy. And calling into your space that quality of the sacred, the divine. This might be through a color, like what comes to me today is the color gold all around me. It might be specific guardian angels you'd like to invite, or the some of the big guys, or ancestors, or um, animal protectors. It might be your values. It might be that you call in love, respect, curiosity, humor. Any words that feel like helpful, loving, supportive space setters. You just call that in and see what shows up. You might also get an image or just a feeling. And so you're creating this space in which it's very safe to allow yourself to go to a level of perception that is really healing and helpful to you today. And so it's nice to set your space with that intention. And now we're just going to continue to nurture ourselves with our breathing before we go into kind of mapping where we're at. We're going to breathe in. And as you breathe in, I want you to just imagine a wave, a really gentle wave. It's not an ocean wave or anything, but it's like a sensing wave that starts at your toes and it moves up the front of your body as you inhale. And then as you exhale, so once you're at the top of the inhale, I like to wiggle my fingers at top to feel I'm at the top. And then with the exhale, just let yourself wave downward. It might be back around your back body or over your side body. However you think about it is fine, or feel it or know it. Just breathing in from your toes all the way up the front body. And when you inhale all the way at the top over your head, then imagine that long exhale down your back body or your side body and back body. So going at your own pace, see what it's like to breathe in to the count of 4 and see what it's like to exhale to the count of 4. Now, if you're guided to hold your breath, then please hold your breath. Sometimes we want to hold our breath at the top of the inhale and at the bottom of the exhale. Also, sometimes we don't. Sometimes our breath becomes slower and longer. And sometimes it becomes lighter and almost wisp like. So just allowing as you imagine in your own way this movement of breath and noticing that goes up the body with the inhale and down the body with the exhale. And if you'd like to try one up the back body and down the front body, you can do that as well. Listen to your own inner guidance. And we're going to do one more full breath like that. Breathing up the body to the count of somewhere in the range of 4 to 8. And full long exhale, letting yourself be luxurious with that exhale. And next, we're going to read our emotions. So just being now and allowing yourself to notice any feelings. You might not feel them now, but you might kind of read them as though you were reading a book of someone else's feelings. Well, and just take a guess. It's okay to guess here. It's okay to just be curious. It might be a feeling that you had earlier in the day. And so when you know what emotion you're reading, it could be several, it could be one. Notice the strength of it. Is it mild? Is it intense? Notice where that emotion is. Is it in the body? Is it around you? Is it in your mind? There's no right answer. You are reading your own system. So for one of us, we might say confusion's kind of behind me to the left, a little in my neck too. Someone else might say, oh, there's something kind of anger like in my solar plexus or in my stomach area. Someone else might notice a thought. So just perceiving in your own way and just allowing this communication channel between yourself and your feelings to be safe, secure. It's a safe line of communication just for you to know. And now we're going to look at just what's the energy that you're experiencing. And it's okay if the body shows you something else. Always thank the body, perceive it, know it. But you might also start to be aware of energy as movement, as temperature, as a kind of emotional energy, like love might feel warm and tingly, for example, or overwhelm might have a cloud-like, moody expandingness. What I'm just making things up here. Whatever you notice on the energy level, it usually comes more as texture, temperature, sensation, movement, shape. There might be words, there might be feelings that are connected to that energy, and you're getting to know it. You're reading it. You might get a color, you might get an image, you might get just a kind of inner resonance that that doesn't doesn't feel very descriptive, but you know that it is something you're perceiving, but it's perception that's a little bit at a realm or at a frequency that doesn't get translated easily into words. And now we're going to ask for words. What words can our body give us? It might be words that describe a physical sensation, an emotion, an energy, but let's ask for words. And for you, words might come in images. For you, words might come in another quality. But I guess what I mean by words is little containers for experience that you're reading and mapping in yourself. So the words are just little, maybe not even containers, they're like tags. And you might want to scan your body now from head to toes, just noticing, is there any emotion, energy, word, or sensation I want to witness? And just as you do this, it's going to sound funny, but thank yourself. Wow, you're really taking care of yourself. Oh, and if you notice that there's a word or an energy or an emotion that feels like it's coming from the outside world or from another person, just let it know it's not yours. Just acknowledge, oh, that's not mine. And if you want to do something like bring air around it or take your hand and put it outside of your bubble or lovingly encapsulate it with a kind of loving frequency to let it just drop away from you, or an image like, oh, that package was delivered to the wrong place, sending that package back. And in your own way, check yourself, create that reading all the way down your body, around your back body, your front body, just noticing and breathing. And this can be very simple, like, oh, I'm witnessing an opening feeling in my mid front body. Or, ah, there's a tension in my neck shoulder area. And if you get given an antidote right away to apply, like a movement or a breath, then of course go with it and then continue the reading of yourself. And you can always get more information by asking, is this intense, medium, or light? And so intense things we might want to return to for a deeper attention giving and healing. Light things might just need our nod, our acknowledgement. And medium things might need a moment to be witnessed, to be heard. Maybe there's a curiosity or a question you have. And so you're gaining all of this clarity. And it's really so easy. It does involve trusting yourself and allowing your imagination to be with you, present. And there's no doing it wrong and there's no doing it right. Okay, when you're ready, I want you to just take some nice breaths, whatever that means for you. Nice breathing that is kind and gentle. And I like to put a hand underneath the belly button and another hand at the heart. Sometimes there can be a little bit of feeling slightly overexpanded from doing this reading, that can that can present in different ways. Sometimes there's a closeness. So just notice, how am I feeling now that I'm returning to neutral? And wiggle your feet a little bit as you breathe. And just like coming back home, imagine yourself entering into the central channel of light that runs from the crown of your head down through your body, right in front of your spine, like a little beautiful energy channel. And it goes all the way down through the sits bones into that grounding cord that connects with earth. And you can ask your energy to just come home to its rightful place if it's feeling at all spread out. Now, what's interesting is that as your energy comes home, your energy field might expand. So just because you're centered and grounded and aligned and connected doesn't mean that you're only in your body. You can give yourself permission to be just around your body a little bit. You can give your energy centers permission to be very open and flowing. You can give yourself permission to be bigger than you normally feel you are, the whole room, the whole street. I went from room to street, but the house, however feels right. You're increasing your sacred footprint. Okay. So you've done really wonderfully. If you have any notes you want to write down now about your mapping, what you noticed on the emotional level, the energy level, any words that came, any thoughts, any intense things that you want to return to in the future, any shifts or sensing. And I'm realizing that probably I did a little extra long on that. So I hope we all got that good skill. And now we're going to do our perspective shifting, but I do want to give you a minute to write down any notes. I really didn't expect that to be as thorough as it was. Okay, but there's no right or wrong way, and that applies to me as well. So I can't say it and not allow that, to be my truth too. And next, we're going to do the perspective shift. So I do want your eyes open for a minute. When we create a diamond in our body, I don't know if any of you guys have done yoga where you lie down and you like put your feet together and your knees kind of go out however they do, and the lower body is in a diamond kind of shape. That is a diamond if you're lying down. When we're in our chair, we can I have to scoot down. We can do this. See my hands? We can do this. And that's kind of a closer in diamond, a little more like a triangle. We can stand up and have our ankles together and our knees slightly out, or you can even do that in a chair as we do the diamond with the upper body. That's easy to do in a chair. And so we're two diamonds. Am I saying the right shape, a diamond? I am. Okay, thank you. I was having a very dyslexic moment. Like, what is that shape? Okay. And I do have pretty I have a lot of dyslexia, so sometimes that happens to me, especially in this zone of meditation where I'm like, wait, was that word the right word? I have no idea. Okay, so now we're going to go into the practice. I just wanted you to understand the diamond, because circles and squares and triangles are a little simpler to find in us and in things we imagine. So I'm going to just share that slide a moment. So Okay. So let's begin with a little bit of breathing. And so, what we're going to do, and I will stop sharing so you see me as I do this. We're going to breathe in and turn to the right just a little bit, whatever feels safe and comfortable for your neck. And then breathing out, we're going to go left. And take a full breath here on the left side, breathing in and breathing out. And then when you're ready, slowly, slowly moving your head to center and breathing in and breathing out. It might be to the count of 2, breathing in, breathing out. And then let's do the right side again. So just turning to look in the direction of your right shoulder and breathing in to the count of 2 and breathing out to the count of 2. And you might want to take a few more breaths like that there, just feeling a nice little stretch. And when you're ready, slowly, slowly, as though you're in slow motion, bringing your head back to center. And we're going to do a little shoulder roll in whatever direction feels right. You can be breathing or just moving. And then we're going to do a little wrist roll, however you move your wrist joint. And just take a nice breath in and a full breath out. So now you've just been moving your physical body in circular sort of shapes, gentle little circles. Now I'm wondering what it's like for you to shift inwards now, changing perspective to your inner landscape, and imagine in your own way circles inside your body. What circles do you find? And as you breathe and notice circles, they might sort of light up for you in a knowing way. You might see them or feel them, and just invite the body to show you circles. What are you noticing? And again, there's just your way of noticing. There's no way that this is supposed to be. You can bring in your imagination to guide you if you want, and bring in visualizations, or you can let the body talk to you and show you circles. Just different ways to do that. And now let's notice squares. I'll give you one kind of easy way to notice a square. Imagine a dot of light inside each shoulder and each hip. And it might be a little bit more like a rectangle, but square, rectangle. And those dots of light give you that square shape. Now, those dots of light are circles, and you might just think about them. You don't have to see them. Now, take your circles, square, and find a way to feel a triangle. It could be just an idea, like putting a circle of light in your solar plexus and letting a line go from there to each shoulder. And from that same circle of light in your solar plexus, connecting to the dots, the circles of light in your hips, and there's another triangle. Where else do you find triangles, diamonds, other shapes? What's it like to imagine dots of light in your ears? Where could they connect to make a triangle or a diamond or a circle or a square or a rectangle? And if you want a quick shift in perspective, take your fingers very gently and put them in your ears, just very gently. You're not pressing in at all. You're just resting them gently there. Now feel the triangles that your arms are making. Feel the space of your chest and your back. And let yourself trace a line from your ear into the middle of your head. There may be a diamond shape that appears with your elbows as outer points, a point down in your belly, and a point at your crown. Could happen. So gently removing your fingers from your ears, do something with your hands that help you feel a circle or a diamond or a square or a triangle. I'm going to do the position where my hands go over my head. And just taking, if you're doing this with me, let's just do 3 breaths here. Feeling that diamond shape. The hands could be in front of the face or the chest if that's more comfortable. And just taking some nice slow breaths. And as you breathe and feel this diamond shape, just notice your back body as well. So you've had a lot of shifts of what you're noticing, and when you're ready, letting your hands come down. And really quickly, let's just get really loose. Like, just think wet spaghetti. What do you do to get like wet spaghetti? Just letting it all kind of go, wet spaghetti. And let yourself breathe however feels good to breathe as wet spaghetti. And now find structure. Strike a pose, whatever that is. Let that structure be felt in your chest, in your hands, in your face. It might be like a happy tension. Hello, vibrant. And then go to wet noodle again. Just shake it out, wet noodle. Or maybe you want to release. Maybe that created some energy or feelings that want to be shaken out. Shake it out, breathe it out, bounce it out, little gentle bounces, whatever feels good, drumming on oneself. Okay, so that was some shifting of perspective. So now we're going to slow it back down into energy healing journey and allowing ourselves to receive our own inner truth guidance. So you did the map reading, you know some feelings, some sensations, some thoughts that showed up, some energy that you became aware of. And so now we're going to just open in this journey to our own true self, our own soul level wisdom, and allow ourselves to get some nurturing, some inner guidance. And so we'll just begin by allowing a sense of slowing down. What is it like to just imagine everything getting a little bit slower, easier? Can almost be like movement and then stop, and then a little movement and stop. This can be what it feels like when we are aware of our thoughts. There's a thought and then a space. This can be what it feels like to be in water, just feeling that texture of the water, or the easy slowness of noticing the sun setting, the moon rising, the stillness of a lake. So pick any image or feeling or place in nature that gives you this sense of slowing down, resting, and open stillness. And as you breathe in and as you breathe out, just bringing that open stillness into this very moment. It might be felt at the top of your inhale as you pause a moment. It might be felt as you imagine feeling the rays of the moonlight or the sunshine, a soft pebble, a warm fire, a clear night. And then letting this slowness, this stillness go deeper into the body, feeling it perhaps in the shoulders as you exhale and inhale, feeling the shoulders slowing down, feeling your torso, your upper back slowing down. As you breathe, you might connect with your ribs and your side body, just getting a little bit more relaxed. And as you breathe, you might want to bring your attention to your lower back, your belly area, just allowing everything to relax and be easy. Like taking a restful vacation in your body. Everything's invited into this ease. Even what might not feel easy is invited just for a moment to let go, to expand, to breathe. And you can allow that invitation to extend down the front body, even into the hands, into the knees, the feet. So it's this very gentle reminder to oneself as we let ourselves just be in this meditative space that we can take this little time where we're easy, slow, open, and safe with ourselves. We're not trying to do anything. And this is a space where it's easiest to hear our own inner guidance. So if there's any question you have or something you want more information about that you did in your own energy reading, you can just ask your own inner wisdom now in this slow, easy, open space. Give me a soul message and just see what a soul message feels like for you today. It might feel like a movement. It might feel like a word, several sentences or pictures, a song, a smell, a texture. So, all you're doing in this slowing down and being is also listening to any soul truth or soul message that wants to be shared with you. It might be very simple, just one thing. It might be something that has more of a storyline or different pictures or feelings. There's many different ways to receive our soul messages. They might be movements. They might be felt more like textures or shapes, lights. And just knowing that you'll remember your soul messages. You don't have to write anything down right now. Your soul messages will be there for you. And just like if you're sitting at a campsite and there's a beautiful full moon and a lake kind of down below where you're sitting, and you can see the moonlight reflected on the stillness of the lake. That might be a little glimmer of what's in your experience, in your body, in your sensing. And those soul messages might be just like those reflections. They might be like the sound of an owl or the crackling of a fire, an inner knowing in your heart. And just like at that beautiful scene by the lake in the moonlight, even if we don't get tired and go to sleep, we stay up all night. Eventually, dawn breaks and light starts to come and the birds start to sing. And there's all this movement as everything wakes up. And that movement might feel like a quickening of energy, like a little faster rhythm inside the body. And so we're going to let that dawn breaking, that awakening energy, literally becoming awake. Not, I don't mean waking up as an enlightenment. I mean more like just waking up to the day, letting that energy be here now with you as a frequency, as a tone, as a color or sensation, as though like the sun was just rising in your chest, rising in your face, rising all around you in that special light in the air as night turns into day. Your hands might want to move. You might need to swallow or stretch. Take a big breath and stretch or yawn. There might be some movement that your body wants to make, stretching or wiggling or shaking it out, or just touching your heart. And just when you're ready, opening your eyes. So just like that slowing down, we were able to really move a little faster and wake up. So now would be a good time to write down some of your soul messages for yourself. And if you didn't get any, that's okay. You can ask for some right now as you write. And I'm just going to stay here with you for a little while. And when someone is moved to share any soul messages, they can raise their hand or write them in the chat. And there's no hurry. Everyone does this in their own time, but it can be lovely when someone's ready for us to hear those soul messages. And I'll share one of mine. I got bamboo. I got the bark of the bamboo and that green color. That was definitely my soul message. And I got movement in my body. A lot of movement was present. So my body moved, and when I'm guiding meditation, I'm not as open to that happening, but I asked for my soul to speak and it wanted to move my body. So I accepted that. 4 triangles. Ooh, very cool. I wonder what those triangles might become. Be the light. Oh, that is beautiful. So I was practicing this on my own a bit yesterday, And it was interesting because when I did the reading, I really felt a lot of fear. Like what I was perceiving in my system was fear, some overwhelm, but a lot of fear. And I did the perspective shifting. I tuned in with breath and I asked for a soul message. And what I was given was the forest, just the beautiful, detailed feeling of being in a forest. And so it was really interesting. It definitely worked to be soothing for me, to ease the fear, to reduce the overwhelm. So I'm sharing that because soul messages, um, I guess the way I connect to them is this part of me that's much more all-knowing and wise and very caring and nurturing to my ego and person and emotions that I have. And so I needed that forest message. I'm not sure what the bamboo meant today, the bamboo bark. Like I could just see I do have a kind of tree in my room, but it's not bamboo bark. Oh, lovely, lovely shares here. I got a blue purple color and a wave movement. I can't seem to grab words. That's perfect. Sometimes there are no words. And another share, it is well with my soul. Pink sky, support, circles of balloons, then stones I was walking on, grounding. Beautiful. And and one hand share, Sergey. Hello.
Hello, Magali. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
So great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I wanted to honor the silence before the thoughts because I do have a lot on my heart. I It was a very talkative meditation for me. It was like conversational with you all along. And so there was a lot of words, a lot of words. Um, Thank you. So, the conversation itself, it's also downloads, when you're seeing soul messages, it's things you do receive. So I was receiving a lot. And let's go back to just that moment when you held a long space and you mentioned it like it was unusually long regarding the space that we're allowing ourselves to take. You said the street, like the room or the street, and then you said you accompanied us into as far and wide as we can go.
Yeah.
And I was going very global, like I was embracing, a full continent, ours, America, from north to south, but also like the globe. But then that was like the remedy for me because at times in my life, I do allow myself to expand to global consciousness, like to even cosmic consciousness. But at other times, it really shapes my experiences, that shrinking that just brings back into, like the wrong silence. There's a good silence and then there's a silenced, you know. So the shrinkage is always in a position to how much I could really see myself expand, especially when I'm held the safe space to do it. But then the experiencing of a moment of safety, like a meditation, which was very much needed today for me, by the way. I came in with a lot of fear and overwhelm because I'm overwhelmed, like fearfully.
Yeah.
And then finding at the end, the words as simple as it could get at the end of the meditation. You said, what's that one? It could be very simple. And I did receive once again that peace and that's in a sense, like a full dense meditation on peace in that moment because it's
Yeah.
all embracing, right? It's like,
Yeah.
yes, I'm living in an turmoil, like roller coaster turmoil experience of life. But there's moments that confirm that I'm inhabited, where I'm habitating, I'm living in a perfect peace.
That's
And
beautiful.
it's
Wow.
literally like the density of my meditation was also regarding the actual origin of like who's been how we've been like given peace in history. And it can't you can't think of peace without thinking of perfect shalom, in the sense of that preservation of a promise of peace, of
So
perfect
I
peace.
see what you mean. There was a lot of conversation, huh? There was a lot of when I'm just so wondering also when we were more in the body with the shapes, did you feel any of those shapes? I didn't know if what I was guiding would connect with anyone, so I'm wondering.
Absolutely. I think I never got to tell you that I'm actually from my family's occupation. I'm also a jeweler, so I've been, very conscious of diamonds being, stardust, like literally like parts of the most precious gifts that we've got, not in terms of like material, just like a symbol, a sign
Mhm,
of like
mhm.
wonder.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that feeling of receiving diamond shaped images for an experience,
Yeah.
it brings me back to my ultimate longing for recognition of our preciousness, like it's such
Mm,
a precious design, but also precious value, unique value. I think each diamond is uniquely valuable, and I think
that's
I'm
beautiful.
longing to.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about that position of the diamond? There's this kind of purification practice, I guess, that's done. I don't know if they would call it purification. I don't want to say that word, but a practice done in Tibetan medicine where you hold that position standing up,
Oh,
also
yeah,
squatting a little bit
yeah,
until your body has so much heat and
yeah,
you kind of tremble.
yeah.
And it's a big thing in that, and I actually wasn't thinking of that practice when I designed this meditation, but now that you and I are talking, I'm remembering it. I don't know why. And it's
Yeah, well,
interesting that your
oh, yeah.
curtains are so golden because I was definitely getting this golden color when we started. So I'm glad you shared.
You know what you just said about the heat? It's just let's just remember that diamonds are shaped by extreme heat. So
Mm.
there's no diamond without that
In the
fresh
earth,
rise.
it's heat.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
whole the metaphor of the diamond is like it's born out of like super hot coils.
That's
So
so interesting, and I wasn't even it's funny because I don't normally wear a diamond, but I am wearing an old it's a vintage. I'm wearing an old diamond, happens to be, but I wasn't even thinking of the rock. I was just thinking more of this kind of diamond-like shape in the body. So it's very interesting that we're talking about diamonds to me. Yeah. Oh,
I
thank
feel it.
you for
Thank you
bringing
so
that
much.
and sharing
Thank
that
you.
peace and that
Thank you.
expansion. When by the way, when we were you able like, was it too much? Did you feel nauseous or anything when you went that expanded? That's why I did that connecting kind of centering.
uh, Anxious because we're not allowed to hold that much of an
Uh-huh.
expansion. It's like the
No, I
anxious.
said nauseous. Sometimes people get nauseous
Yeah,
when they
well,
go
that's it.
energetically that big.
That's it because
Yeah.
I think it's much more like spiritually, disbalanced because I can't hold that much of a space in
Mhm,
real life. You have to go
mhm.
back to, the movement we did today was amazing because it brings us back to the real geographic location that we're in,
Yeah.
like real measure of who we really are.
But you know what the non-dual teachers would say is that's totally true. We can't like our human self, but when we sort of become that cosmic consciousness, there's no more of that restriction because it's sort of like the human self sort of melts into that universal.
Exactly. We are
Yeah,
reabsorbed
yeah,
into the
into that. Yeah.
essence.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for
Thank
sharing.
you. Thank you
Anyone else?
so
Anyone
much.
else want to share or have a question? I realized that like that was a lot in that practice. There were a lot of different parts, and it can be easy to kind of um at least for me guiding it, it can be easy to forget what what happened kind of quickly. And if any of you are meditation guides or you use meditation with coaching clients, some of you are my students. I want to point out that any of those parts of that practice could be done as individual standalones. You can teach a person the beginning, the grounding, the setting the space. You can teach a person, and Joyce, I'm going to call on you in a second. I'm glad you raised your hand. You can teach a client to, or a friend or a family member, whoever, to do that reading of one's own emotions and energy with that invitation of clarity and of knowingness, knowing oneself. Just that is healing. It's very different than doing it in order to shift state. So I almost didn't like my wording of shift perspective, because it is a perspective shifting that happens in the next phase, but it's already healing just to witness and be clear with oneself about what we are perceiving. And if tears come or laughter comes, good, the releasing is happening. We can also shake to bring out some of that releasing that can happen from that clarifying, because often we just don't get clear. We sort of float from one big emotion or stress or to-do list or pushing of ourselves into another, and we don't just stop to notice. So that map reading is a solo practice that can be done in a healing way. The other is the perspective taking of the shapes and the wiggly, I think we did like wiggly pasta and then structure, and then we did releasing, and that was done. That part of the practice I realized was a little quick today because I took so long on the map, on the reading of oneself. I didn't expect that. And then the guided journey, I don't think I've ever guided a journey like that. It had a very hypnotic feel to me. It actually surprised me as the journey was going. There's a part of me who listens and is like, wow, this is a lot like hypnosis, Magley. Where is this going? And I'm not really sure. And then afterwards I realized that it's in that slowing down. At least I feel it's slowing down and pausing that allows us to hear the soul messages. And so that's why I did so much of the slowing down into the pauses and the experience of being at the lake in the night. And then my creative mind came up with, oh boy, I've got everyone so slowed down here. I don't want them to be asleep. I better have the sun show up. I better wake everyone up with some sunshine. And that's where that came from there. So yeah, and I think because you can see my artwork behind me, and many of you don't know, I also a yogi, and I taught yoga for a long time. Now I don't do as much of the physical yoga asanas, but I do a lot of parts of yoga. And for me, shapes are really a part of that. Always it was about, on the physical level, finding the shapes in the body. And as an artist, it's often about shape for me just as much as color. So for me, those tools just naturally merge into meditation. Um, and I guess that's just like a personal preference. Joyce, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I love looking at all your artwork in the
Aw.
background. It's always so amazing to see. You're such a good artist, and I'm always surprised at whether it's plants or art. Both beautiful.
One day
So,
I'm gonna do a little tour for the meditation group of my jungle that's become the living room. It's become a jungle. So
yeah, I want to see the art gallery open.
yeah, no art gallery, but a lot of plants.
Well, It was interesting today for me when you did the wave coming up the body and then down the backside. I'm like, ah, that doesn't feel good. That just did not feel good going down. I felt like I was just drowning in this wave.
Oh,
So then
okay. Bad metaphor for you. That's good to know.
so I imagined this when we breathed in, this tube of light and the light going up the tube and out the top into the heavens. And then when I breathed in, the light coming down, but then turning into the roots into the earth. So it was like the going up and the coming down with the light and the roots. And that felt really great to me. But then with my support of Jesus and my angels around me, the angels took the tube in the middle and they opened the tube up. So then the light and the love could come out all around me from the tube. So that was really cool. And and then the words, "It is well with my soul," was just like right where I'm at. It's all good. It's just all good. So that was interesting. And then I went with the shapes. I thought of balloons going up, but then that felt so airy to me that then I had thought of stones, round stones that I like ocean stones that I was stepping on and brought me more grounding than the balloons going up in the air.
That's
So
beautiful. That
it
is
was
really beautiful.
great meditation today. I really enjoyed each part of it.
You know what?
Thank
We should do a meditation group where we all bring rocks or stones and we meditate with the rocks or stones. We should absolutely do that. So maybe I'll let people kind of know in advance.
I love that. I have stones all over my house. I have stones like in the Bible, it talks about how they would put stones out, stones of remembrance, like altar of stones of remembrance of what God had done in their lives. So I have stones around candles. I have the stones from Cambria that are really smooth little pebbles in a dish, and
Oh, that's
I have my
beautiful. So
stack
you'll have
stones.
to bring extra stones to the meditation.
Exactly. I'll bring a stone for everybody.
Okay. Oh,
Thank you
thank
so
you for
much, Mackley.
sharing.
Appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you too. Talk soon, I'm sure, in class. We have class on Saturday, actually.
Do we have something today at 2?
We do not today.
Okay.
We're this week we're meeting. I hope I'm not wrong. I believe this week we're meeting on Saturday at 12 p.m. if you're in Coaching Institute, live classes.
I'll be out of town, but
Oh,
my
oh,
thoughts will
you'll
be
get the
with you.
recording.
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
And if anyone here just recently joined the new group, we're a small group at this point in meditation, so probably not. But if you did, welcome, welcome. And I will see you Saturday. So you guys, same place next week. And I hope this meditation kind of is there for you as a support whenever you need it, any part of it. And I'm going to share it also on the YouTube channel so that you can experience it there. Okay, be well, guys. Take care.